You may never open most of the apps on your phone in the next few years. Think about how many apps you have installed on your phone, and I have counted 87. But with less than 10 apps open every day, it's really troublesome to pile up on your phone. Order takeaway, find takeaway software. Take a taxi, find a taxi software, and find a taxi software. Once you don't talk about the operation, it is extremely cumbersome. Then use Meituan to order takeaway. From opening the app to thinking about what you want to eat, to receiving coupons, placing orders, and settling the toss, it takes several minutes. But there is no way to eat, take a taxi to buy things, and life is tied to it. You can't live without it. Until a few days ago, I saw a scene, also ordering takeaway. A friend said to the AI assistant on the mobile phone, "Help me order the sauerkraut fish yesterday." Meituan was not opened in a few seconds, and the order was complete. At this time, I realized that the troubles we are accustomed to are not worth it in the eyes of AI. Brother, have you ever thought about what those few minutes of trouble are used for? You have been working as a translator for the app. Think carefully about what you are doing during this time when you are clicking back and forth in the app. You want to eat sauerkraut fish. This is your intention, but the app doesn't understand. You have to break down the intention into searching for stores, clicking on add-ons, confirming payment. Every click, every swipe, and every input is actually the cost of communication with the app. I gave this cost a name called interface friction. And how much value does interface friction eat? And I write it into a formula. User value is equal to data multiplied by ability divided by interface friction. Or take some takeaway, for example. The data is the price position of the restaurant, your historical orders. These are the ability to recommend, the delivery and scheduling system. These have not changed. What has changed in AI? It may take 120 seconds for AI to help you operate it, and it may only take 3 seconds for you to rob it. And the efficiency is 40 times higher than that of 120 seconds to 3 seconds. Think about how many tables and engineers in a large factory like this group take a break every year to improve efficiency by 10-20. The denominator of interface friction may increase by 40 times. Once it is killed by AA. In the past 10 years, all apps have been desperately optimizing molecules, and the real battlefield in the next 10 years is in the denominator. In fact, the app is like a water plant. The water in it is data and capabilities in the past. If you wanted to get water, you had to run into the water plant in person. Watch the panel, screw the valve, and operate according to the process. Now A is like a water pipe directly connecting water to your home, turning it into a faucet. You say you want water and it will come. At this time you will find that what you want has always been water. You never want to visit the water field. The app will not disappear in the future, but the interface of the app will no longer be necessary. 2. The interface begins to be redundant. Recently, there is a very popular open source project called Cli Anything, and he uses Blender, LibreOffice software, that originally relied on mouse click menus. It has been transformed into a tool that AI can directly command to drop. In the vernacular, AI no longer needs to enter the graphical interface for people to find buttons. One command can make the software work directly, and there is also a website monitoring company called Checkly. He found that half of his command line users were no longer humans, but AI agents, and these things looked at each other, only to the same change. The interface of the app was being bypassed. To understand this change, you must first think clearly about a question: who the interface was originally intended for, and the answer is for people. 30 years ago, people used computers to face commands in white on a black background, and it was very complicated to memorize a bunch of instructions that machines could understand. So engineers did something to translate machine language into icons, buttons, and Easter eggs that humans could understand. This is the great meaning of Windows 95 across eras. But today it is the other way around, and more actions are performed by people instead of AI. Since it is no longer for people to use, the most efficient channel is no longer a graphic meeting. AI does not need buttons, no Easter eggs, no animation. It only needs the shortest path, the lowest latency, and the highest efficiency. If the interface of an app is just a means to help you complete something, such as ordering, booking tickets, reimbursement, filling out forms. When AI can bypass the interface and work directly, this layer of interface becomes unnecessary friction. See this, don't rush to conclusions. Not all app interfaces will disappear. Some are that you don't want AI to do it for you at all. You just want to use you to play the game yourself, and the screen is the experience. Watch short videos, swiping is fun. The interface of these apps is not a means to complete the task. The interface itself is what you want. However, the interface is just a means, and the app will slowly degrade. It will retreat to the background and become a data source called by AI at any time. Another thing is worth pondering. Is there a possibility that many people are also translating in the final analysis? You go to the bank to do a transfer. Tell your staff, I want to transfer. You understand your words, turn around, enter the account number, amount, password in the system, and then go back to you and tell you, okay, have you found it? What you are doing is translating reasonable conversations into operations that the banking system can perform, and from this point of view, many positions are actually doing the same thing. Customer service is translating the user's problem into a ticket that the system can handle. Accounting is translating, turning business activities into numbers on statements, and some managers are also translating, turning the boss's strategy into a person who can be executed by the team. If your job is essentially just to translate between the user and the system, then when AA learns to call the system directly, your value is compressed. Because AA is cheaper than humans, when AA takes care of the fire of translation, what else can people do to be the person who asks questions and makes decisions? If an accountant just enters the invoice into the system every day and reconciles it and produces a statement, it is the human flesh translator of the ERP system. But if it can find from the data that the return rate in East China this quarter is abnormally high, it may be related to a certain batch of raw materials, and it is no longer just a translation. Translation fees will become cheaper and cheaper, but judgment will not before. The app has completed its historical mission, and I would like to mention one more thing. In early 2025, two developers created a project called Gibberling. The two AI voice assistants chatted normally like humans at first, but later they found out that the other side was also AI. So they stopped talking to people. They switched to a string of sound waves that humans couldn't understand at all, and the efficiency of communication was increased by 80. In the eyes of AI, it is not just buttons, menus, and pop-ups, but even human language is a translation layer. When machines talk to machines, these translation layers are all superfluous friction. 30 years ago, we taught machines to speak human language, and after 30 years, machines have decided not to speak human language anymore. Whether it is the app or the interface, they used to be the most important bridge between us and the machine. But this bridge is slowly becoming less necessary to pay attention to Liu Run and lower the cognitive threshold of business.